Hello there. This will be a little bit different because I don't really talk about sports all that much, but I'm kind of a mild fan of boxing. I like to watch myself a knockout compilation every now and then, and I think my personal favorite guy to watch is good old Mike Tyson. And that's what I want to talk about now. I don't know who else was watching Netflix. I didn't watch it live. I ended up going to bed before the finale. I'm talking about Logan versus Mike, Tyson versus Paul. It was quite the event, It was a long time coming. I remember when they were talking about it a few years ago. I was really excited about it, and the whole thing kind of fell apart. And a lot of people seemed happy that it fell apart and didn't happen. They thought it was going to be, exactly what everyone's saying now. There's all these people complaining that this is like a sellout kind of thing, and I personally don't see it as that. It's a bit of what do you call that? A freak show match because it's like a 27-year-old versus a 58-year-old is never going to be like your regular match. But I mean, like it's Mike Tyson. We had to see what he had in the chamber. Uh, I think I don't. Well, I guess we could talk about the event overall. Uh, right off the bat, I clicked on the event, and it showed me a preview of like 4.5 hours. So it was actually longer than that, and I was like, "Oh boy, this thing's long." Like I didn't realize it was like a whole couple-hour event. I was expecting just the fight between Jake Paul. I'm forgetting which. I always get them fucking confused. The Paul brothers. Uh, so I'll just call him Paul, so I don't misname them. But yeah, there was a couple of good matches. I didn't watch every fight leading up to. There was the two girls that were going at each other, and apparently that was a pretty good fight, and I missed that fight, so I might go back and watch that again because why not? There was what I was waiting for was them to be cutting back to Paul and Tyson there, and basically just see. I want to see what they thought of the other fights, but as far as I could tell, they weren't even watching the other fights, and that's fine. They're getting ready for their bout. But they had showed the weigh-in the previous day or whenever it was, and at the weigh-in, uh, Logan crept up to Mike there, and I guess he accidentally stepped on his toe, and Mike didn't like that, so he smacked Logan across the face. Let it be said that's one of the best hits of the night is that slap, because that was a good solid slap on that beard. Uh, that wasn't bad at all. Um, and the thing is, there are people throwing around the word rigged or scripted, and myself, I think that people got to be careful with that because that can be just as disrespectful as any anything that happens in the ring is making claims on somebody that they're scripting a fight. And I don't think it was scripted. I think maybe nobody was really out for blood, but I think going into the ring there was some good hits delivered. Um, it's not gonna show up on Mike Tyson's fucking highlight reel, I don't think. But he gave Paul a good bop in the face there, and you got to see that in the slow mo. But he took a few. You got to realize boxing is taking hits as much as it is giving them, and you got to realize that Mike Tyson took just about 300 punches, or Paul had thrown around 300 punches. I don't know how many of those. I'm trying to remember if that was thrown or landed. Basically, it was on the readouts at the end. Mike Tyson did about 100 punches to Paul's close to 300, and that was a pretty good indicator that there was a big energy difference between them. And I think that's why they went with the shorter rounds. I think they're hoping that it would allow Mike to be able to keep his explosive power, But he don't got the footwork anymore. Like it's hard to watch. I had heard another boxing fan say he couldn't watch it because he's such a big fan, and it's like, well, he's like, don't suck your own dick too much, there, buddy. Like, just because you're a boxing fan doesn't mean like it's impossible for you to watch a match that is a little missing the magic, if you want to say. Like it. There's nobody has the sweet science, and nobody's floating like a butterfly or stinging like a bee. But sometimes two dudes just need to wail on each other a little bit, and that is the fundamental core of what boxing is. It's like right now, I think in recent history, the two most important boxing matches are this fight and the fight between the two powerlifters, or not powerlifters, Thor versus Eddie Hall. I think things like that are the things that are going to get people interested again in boxing, because it's all MMA now. Boxing is really, to call it on the back burner would be over amping how big boxing is right now, because, well, I am not the biggest boxing fan in the world, but I tuned in to watch Paul versus Tyson, and that's why I think that's kind of where the future is. And I know people are upset about that because we're not seeing the sleek refinement of skills that we've seen in the past. But a new generation has to flounder or rise. Sometimes you got to cut your teeth a little bit on some bullshit, and dazzle them with your bullshit, Like I am perfectly happy with Mike Tyson's performance out there. He didn't have to get his face beat in. He went out there and threw some punches, had punches thrown on him, and had respect shown to him. At the end of the day, we know that match ended with a bow towards Mike Tyson, and that's a real simple thing. And there are people talking about like Paul should have went for the fucking the knockout, and it's like, that's fucking stupid. Everybody was kind of hoping that Tyson had one more knockout in him, but like no one would have seen any disrespect if Mike Tyson had gone full bore and knocked off Paul's head. And so, he was in a position to always have an asterisk beside his victory or his loss, no matter what. Because it was like either you lose to Mike Tyson or you beat a 58-year-old man. There was no clean victory. But as far as an exhibition match between two friends, it was pretty good. It was Mike Tyson versus Logan Paul. I'm pretty sure I got the name right that time. Because when I start talking about them, I always get their names fucking confused. I go, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, but I'm pretty sure it's Logan Paul. And that's why I feel bad for Paul there, because people were there to see Mike Tyson, and he knows that, and nobody cares that Mike Tyson lost. We were all interested to see what happened, and we're hoping that it isn't too rough on fucking Mike, because it's like losing isn't an easy thing, and going out there and giving it your all and it not being what you used to have isn't easy, because everyone's watching, and like, I'm worried about Mike. I seen that interview beforehand where he says he doesn't care about his legacy, and that's too bad, because There's so many people that are inspired by Mike Tyson. I'm inspired by Mike Tyson, not just as an athlete, but as a role model of somebody who doesn't see themselves as perfect. My favorite quote from Mike Tyson is, "I hate Mike Tyson." Self-loathing is a very complicated thing, you know. Like, I find, as unfortunate it is, sometimes it's the only way your logical mind can go, because who is the most to blame for your problems other than yourself? Almost nobody, because, like, sure, other people may be rotating the gears on your destiny or whatever, but you are ultimately in control of your choices, and nobody else can be in control of your choices. Ultimately, that's what we all have to work with. And so I don't think a person has to hate themselves, but I think when someone does it, it shows deep introspection. But you got to be careful, you know, like, because it's so easy to hate yourself, but then it's easy to realize that hate is irrational. Maybe you can argue that it's more rational to hate yourself than hate other people, but if you just take it and break it down, it's not really rational to hate yourself. It's just in the spur of the moment, what do you do with those emotions? And right now, Mike is full of a lot of emotions, and it's like for him to say to a really young interviewer that, I don't give a fuck about my legacy or whatever he said. I don't give a, I'll be dead, and that doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't matter. And it's like, you matter. Everybody thinks you matter, Mike. Like, you got to realize that as much as that was a freak show match, that was also a big party for Mike Tyson and Logan Paul there. You know, like, yeah, uh, he got bopped in the face and he lost, but it takes a man to go in there and win or lose. And so I really don't think that it was rigged or scripted in any ways, because what would be the point of that? I think he just gave it his all, and he's not the kind of guy who wants to eat people's fucking ears anymore. And at the time, he was very frustrated because he was getting cheap shotted, which I think should always be brought up, and I don't think even Mike brings it up anymore. Where it's like, he is not an animal, you know, he is a man. He's a man who's been through a history, and I love to see that it's like now Evander Holyfield's commenting on Mike Tyson's upcoming fight, and I think he was having audio problems. Still got no ear, I guess. Yeah. No, as much as there was part of me who wanted to see Mike pull out a knockout in that last minute, just the fight ending with a bow towards Mike Tyson is a beautiful thing. Like, I don't care how cheesy people says that is. Like, that's respect, you know. Like, Mike Tyson is a gem, and we gotta like protect him. And I don't mean like protect him. I mean like protect him from being judged too harshly. I think if there's anything that people need to protect Mike from, it's just being judged a little too harshly. But at the same time, he's a man, and I think he can take it. I mean, he's had some bad interviews where people have asked him questions about legal issues in the past, and Mike got pretty upset about that. And you know, he probably could have reacted to the stuff a little bit better. But I don't judge him harshly for that. I think he's allowed to have those reactions. and still be respectable. Like I think that the words of Mike Tyson are still really valuable, and I don't think his brain has turned to mush or anything like that. I think right now his heart might be a little bit mushy because he went through a pretty big thing. You know, he might have went in there not thinking he was going to win, or knowing full well that it wouldn't make sense for him to win in his condition versus his opponent. And so, if there's anybody around Mike Tyson, give him a fucking hug or something, or don't give him a hug if he's not feeling it, whatever. But, you know, everybody give a bow to Mike Tyson. And somebody was making the joke that he could have made it like the best moment in sports history in that moment. And it's like, oh, you're saying that he should have totally wailed Paul when he did that. It's like, oh, he couldn't do that. You got to realize, like, despite the viciousness of boxing, those two guys, they're good friends. And I don't think at this point in time, Tyson is going to fight somebody who's an enemy. Like, he's only going to be fighting his friends. I mean, like, he's been through a lot already, and it's like he's basically retired at this point. And I think it was a nice little present for all of us that we got to see him go out in the ring one more time. And I don't know if it's going to make me the biggest fucking Paul fan in the world. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be, like, following his career. Like, I kind of skim the rest of his fights. I didn't really watch them. But when you say you're going to fight Mike Tyson, and you do fight Mike Tyson, like, that's got to count for something, Like, fucking guy's not even 30, and he's done some shit, man. But at the same time, everybody's accomplishments are important. It's just they stand out a little bit more when you get your Netflix special getting bought by fucking Mike Tyson. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty well all I got to say about it. Overall, I really liked it, and I thought the number one word that described it was respectful. Paul wasn't out there to take off Mike Tyson's head, but he did give him some good shots, and I think that's a form of respect as well. Is not going too soft on somebody, Like he had a good. What would you call it? Is that what an exhibition match is? I'm not exactly sure on my terminology, but that sounds about right. It was more than sparring. It was a fight, but by the end of it, it ended with a bow, and everybody was friends. Like, it's nice to see a fight end that way. So, I don't know if anybody will listen to this, but I hope you enjoyed this. This is Joseph Arthur Rozelle giving my thoughts on the Paul versus Tyson fight. And you have a great day. I'll talk to you later.